Welcome to B-Rated, B-Rated Conversations. Join us as we talk to the creative people behind the independent movies and get the behind-the-scenes stories.
It's a strong fucking dream. And that's how we start the episode out.
Well, thank you for being here. We're here with Connor Holden and David Zagorski from Horny Teenagers Must Die.
Thanks for having us.
No problem. Thank you.
You know, I still think that I don't think I've ever said the name of the movie yet. Right? I think Anthony's just the one that keeps saying it for the entire episode and everything.
It's a great title.
Yeah. Which, okay, so it's like the title itself, like normally kind of like titles are supposed to be like eye-catching, supposed to pull you in and grab you. But I do really feel like with this movie, it becomes the mission statement of the movie. That if we're going to name this movie, like the way it felt to me, like if you're going to name this movie Horny Teenagers Must Die, we're going to have the horniest teenagers. The killers are going to be about killing horny teenagers. And they're even going to say it. And like, I love that commitment to like standing by the name.
Yeah. So actually, the script I wrote 14 years ago, and the original title was actually Die So Let's Die. This was, of course, this was before the Me Too movement and everything. So as we were getting closer to actually shooting this thing, my co-producer Johnny was like, I don't think that title's really going to work in this day and age. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. So I was trying to come up with a different title. I didn't want anything generic like, Kids in the Woods or something. So I thought long and hard for several weeks, and finally I came up with, you know what? Horny Teenagers Must Die. It's exactly what this movie is. So you sum up the movie with the title.
Yeah, like there's those movies like Phenomenon where it's like, what the fuck's that movie even about?
Yeah.
And now it's just straight cuts right to the chase.
Yeah.
And you know what's going
exactly
on.
what it's about. Yeah.
It is pretty hilarious though. Like if we just jump right in to start talking about it, like the first scene, right?
Yeah.
Where the couple is in. We got
Lost
to pause.
Connor. I mean,
If he jumps back on.
Yeah. Oh, there he is.
Sorry, my internet out.
No, all good. So
it's all good. It's all good.
That opening scene, like my wife and I had to watch it like 3 times because if you just watch it and kind of don't really pay attention, that boy, it's 100% sounds like he said, "Now I can see you wanted it in mom's room." Where it's like, wait a second, and then like you rewind it and then you listen to it, it's like mom's room, and you're just like, what the fuck, are they siblings? And then you put it on closed caption, and then you listen to it really hard, and you're like, okay, he says your mom's room, and I was like, oh goddamn! Like start off almost gave me a heart attack. Like what the fuck?
Yeah, but if you pay attention to the ending, then it gets even more kind of twisted. So, because
like I did love the ending because it's one of those that like I think we watched like more than a few movies, so it's like occasionally we'll like in the back of our heads just be like, this is going to happen and this is going to happen and this is going to happen, and like it started to happen a little bit, but then there's that twist at the end, and it kind of really like threw everything off a little bit, which I enjoyed a lot.
Well, I thought it was gonna, like, if you guys seen the new Dawn of the Dead, well, like the new word was 2010, something, maybe 2000, I don't remember. But that little girl, like, they instantly, she's in like the shadow of the door frame, and then she jumps up into that surfer pose and just fucking starts biting the dad or boyfriend or something. I was like, oh fuck, this little girl's gonna murder him. And then, sure enough, I mean, other stuff happens before then, which we always have reasons why you shouldn't do things, like for instance those gigantic ass scissors in the bathroom. Like what? Like that was like your great grandma's like sewing scissors, and you're just like, don't have those in the bathroom. What are you doing? Like, first off, you don't ever need those in the bathroom. Like, those aren't to cut your hair.
They are a little bit exaggerated, but I want something that could believably cut off a, spoiler alert, cut off a penis. So,
there it was.
There it is. So, yeah. So I looked online for prop scissors, and that's what I could find. So I said, fuck it. It's a little exaggerated, but hey, the whole movie's kind of a little bit exaggerated, so it works.
No, definitely does.
Nothing was exaggerated.
Which, okay, so Connor, you play Ryan, the mascot head wearing, bondage loving,
Toker dude.
toker dude. Yeah, like this has to be a fun character to kind of dive into.
Yeah, this was very much when I found the casting call for it, the title was definitely eye catching, and I was like, oh, this has got to be. They have to have a character in this, and sure enough, like I look at the choices and just the way Dave had the character breakdown really excited me because it was like. You have the good girl, the leader who's like the good guy. Then you got the tough one. You got the one who's obnoxious. You got the shy one. I liked this kind of Breakfast Club sort of, set of characters that. So I applied for like, I think 2 roles. I wanted to just get his attention, but when we were talking about the character, he first referenced Jimmy DeBello's character from Cabin Fever, that's Bert, that's the asshole in that movie, and he's kind of spun from that, and I was like, okay, like how can I go further with that if we're trying to show what like male testosterone looks like is kind of what I was
Good
going for.
God.
So yeah, it was fun getting to work with like everyone and kind of figuring out like how we wanted to do it and everything.
Yeah, you
Definitely.
mentioned.
Sorry, Brian.
Oh,
Go ahead.
sorry. No, I was about to say you mentioned the whole cast of characters. Like we had to go through and make our notes on everybody just off of first impressions. So we have let's see, Drew. Unfortunately, he was the nerdy virgin.
Yeah.
Jenna, she's the wiener tease girl. Roman, I guess. Well, he looked like he was going to be the token black dude, but then he started to try to just be like the buff athletic guy at the end of it, or even like when you go pick up Jenna, he's like, I need to do push-ups in the middle of the street. And, like, you're like, that dad is looking through the window. Like, Jenna, you're not going camp with these fucking guys this weekend. Like, get the hell back in your bedroom. Poor Elliot, right? Like, Elliot, I had an employee that was the exact, like, I had to keep watching and be like, dude, is that my employee? Because he looked just like my employee, and my employee used to be like extras in movies. But this employee, like, he once told one of my managers, like, hey, you should be a plus size model. And he was like, that's not a pickup line. Like, you're probably going to lose your hours, bro. Like, what the hell? But Elliot reminded, like, we always love watch the movies where we can put ourselves into one of their shoes. Be like, this is semi-realistic. I think with all the, I don't know, just the instant as soon as they get there, just everybody starts banging. That was a little bit. I was like, "What the hell?" Like, I don't know what high school this was in, and where's this recorded at, so that I know not to bring my son to that high school or let him go camping for the weekend.
It's Beaverton High.
Jesus. All right.
Which Connor actually kind of came up with because he, the shirt that he wears in the movie, he designed that shirt.
There it is.
Yeah, and the beaver head thing was actually I call it like a gift from God because it was the day before shooting. I had the beaver shirt made. I was like, yeah, we should be the beavers because that's funny. I was at Sabres and I find this big mascot head of a dog, and I was like, oh, that's the last thing I need. So I brought it with me and I just tried to see what scenes we could use it in, and it just ended up being a character of its own. And I when we were done shooting, I gave it to Dave, and he still has it.
There it is. That's
proudly. Awesome. It's proudly in my bedroom.
Just on a shelf, looking at your bed.
More or less, yeah. It's on the back of my chair.
There it is.
Which I do love that. Like, this is one of those movies that sometimes they movies try to do the big characters and have the big moments, but then do the subtle thing at the end. And this is one of those movies that doesn't do that. It's like, if we're big at the start, we're big at the end. It's like, you got to keep it consistent because it, like, for me, at least, it kind of like keeps a kind of like tonal consistency, which I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to go for when I did the script. Well, the original script, like I said, was Dice Let's Die. It was actually very generic. It had your cardboard cutout characters that had no personality or anything. And then doing the rewrite, I tried to make the characters a little bit more have more personality. Like pregnant girl and Connor's character. So yeah, I didn't want it to be just like another generic slasher and. So we went over the top with it, and yeah, I don't know. It was a lot of fun to do.
I thought another awesome thing about it too was you didn't follow any. Well, I don't want to say it, like I don't know how to say it, but like you always have the people that get killed first, and
Yeah.
this one like we kept thinking like, okay, somebody's gonna die right now in that murder shed. Oh, nobody died in the murder shed. Okay, well somebody's gonna die at the campfire that night. Nope, nobody died in the campfire that night. And then when who was it? Drew, when he's like, "Hey, everybody, it's time to go to bed," and then he got rejected by Jenna, and he had to go. I was like, "Okay, well then, Drew, somebody's gonna die right now," and then nobody dies. You're just like, "What the hell?" Like, as many movies as we've watched, we're pretty sure that we could be like, "Oh, for sure, this one's gonna be the one that dies first," and you're just like, "Oh shit, completely wrong." And now this one, oh, they're gonna die. So like, it always had us guessing. And then thankfully, the first person that did die, like, fuck that dude. So, yes, So it was really awesome how, like I said, like we just kept guessing, like, oh, for sure, right now it's going to happen. But then, no. But even Drew screwing everybody, bring them to that cabin, like, you know how pissed I'd get? Like, if they're just like, hey, we can go somewhere else for this like weekend or vacation, whatever, or we can go to my dad's cabin. Like if you have a dad's cabin, it needs to, I don't know, have indoor water to have a toilet in. So the fact that he did, then you're like, well, Drew's got to be clearly some part of this because why would he bring them to this murder shed and then nothing happened?
Well, I think based on everybody's reactions, I think Drew basically kind of worked it out with the guys, but they never said anything to the girls because the girls are all like, "What the fuck," and the guys are like, "It's cool, whatever."
But yeah,
Right?
So, but
I can relate to that one because that's always like whenever I book hotels or whatever with my wife, it's like I need approval because I don't want to pick a place and then have to hear about how you don't like this or you don't like that later. So it's kind of like I get that one. It's like one of those things you learn later in life as opposed to like earlier when you're in your 20s and it's the wonder of me kind of thing.
yeah.
Yes.
But so the question I've been wanting to ask is, Connor, the scenes, the pegging scenes.
Oh, the pegging scenes.
Yes, like
Wait,
so
what scene?
these
What are we
scenes.
talking about?
I swear to you, this was a horror movie. Like so those scenes, they were just like wide out in the wilderness, just basically like just
No
like
lube, no
get
nothing.
it.
Yeah, no, it was definitely like when I first read the script, it was like kind of something I was not really thinking, but in the back of my head, I'm like, man, this guy seems to be like wicked horny, like him and his girlfriend are hitting each other in the car, and then it shows everyone having sex, and then it gets to him, and it's like she's putting something in him, and I just found that so funny. I was like, I want to play that one. So as when we got there, it was kind of constructed to like we thought we could incorporate the mask in with the death and everything. And honestly, for me, what I like about it so much is that it's like it's gratuitous as shit, and it's also
Oh yeah.
like my favorite thing is that like women have been objectified for years in horror movies, and it's always the girls. It's like why not show a guy just like getting it.
It was hilarious, man. Like the sex montages that were always going on. That's why I was like, dude, where did these kids grow up? Like, like there was the dinner scene where everybody's just like, oh, they're all pissed off. There's like, well, what now? Then all of a sudden, everybody literally just gets up and goes like, I don't know, 15 feet away from everybody and just starts getting down. And even I think one of our questions too that we were asking was like, if you went camping, do you bring your entire arsenal of like sex toys? And I think the majority of people was like, hell yeah, you do. And you're just like, all right, well, apparently our
Okay.
listeners know what we're doing.
Hey,
But
they knew what they were getting into, so
yeah,
they were
even
there to party and get fucked. So
yeah, they're like, oh, hurry up and get there. Carly had to go play radio DJ, brought her own rabbit with her and everything like that. You're just like, dude, you're only there for like a weekend. And then Elliot, poor dude, like I said. But no, it's so, like you said, it's the randomness, like you were saying. Every single movie, there's always, chicks, tits, and asses and everything like that. And then when you were like, now it's my turn, you're just like, that's fucking hilarious, man. Like that was great. And then next time you're just like, all right, let's do it again. You're like, oh wait, he's going it. So one of the questions was, did not Connor, did fucking Ryan ever get it in, or was he just the one getting it?
What I like
You
about
know?
it is it's that it was what I like is that it's it's like for him, no, he was getting it. It's like even though he's the one, at the bottom, it's like, that's who it is. So it was actually important for me in the beginning to be as obnoxious as I possibly could and kind of make myself almost look homophobic or kind of make myself look the jerkiest, just so when it gets to that part, you're like, oh, okay. Like, so yeah, no, yeah, I think that's just what Ryan wants, and Ryan died happy.
Poor, yeah, Ryan. And then the whole what the scene reminded me of what the fuck? What's the Robert Downey Jr. movie where he plays
Iron Man,
blackface? What was that? Tropic
Oh,
Thunder.
Iron Man,
Tropic
Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Iron Man. Yes, it was Iron Man, I think. Tropic Thunder, where there's like, you see this? This is a severed head. They're like, this is just props, and everybody's playing around with the head and drinking his blood and everything like that because they thought it was just another prop because they thought they were doing the thing. But that scene where everybody just grabbed the head, the severed head, and they're just like, yeah, look at this, and throwing it back and forth. I was like, good God. And then finally they realized, like, oh shit, this is a real head. Like, now we're fucked. Kept everybody on their toes, man. It's super fun to watch.
Yeah, one of my favorite scenes was like Elliot is kind of one of my favorite characters, and the scene that kind of fully
Goddamn
encapsulates how everybody feels about Elliot is like when he's stuck to the tree with the arrow in his leg, and everybody's acting like this is just normal and this is okay, and
right,
like that was really funny. Like
We've
it's
got a lot
mean-spirited
of
fun.
criticism about that scene.
Really?
They're like, why would Elliot be friends with these people? They're so mean to him, and it's just like, when I was growing up, I didn't have friends that shot me in the leg with an arrow, but we certainly did mean stuff to each other, So
Yeah, I did.
The guys had been up drinking all night, and they got this idea, and what do you do when you're drunk? You have stupid decisions. So
that was a messed up thing. Like I was like, dude, are they trying to just murder this guy? Like it's supposed to. Then you're all supposed to be friends and everything. And then the best part though is Elliot after he got everything all done. Like, what do you call it? He just tied a fucking tourniquet on his leg and like continued the weekend. It's like, damn, what a trooper Elliot is, man.
Yeah, he was there to try and get laid. One way or another, he was trying, whether it blood, sweat, and tears.
Played by Choi Young Chasa-sang, who is the best, and I got really close with him during that, and he just played it so sincere. And what I think is fun about it is that, yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily feel bad for. It's a movie where you don't have to feel bad for people. It's like you kind of see why people don't like him. He's a bit of a pervert. He gets like, there's no personal space, and so it's kind of funny that we're just like, yeah, let's just shoot him, like whatever.
Shoot an arrow at
Again,
him.
we're teenagers in the woods and we're horny. What's gonna happen? Like,
He was hilarious in the auditions. I had him do. So I did all the auditions via Zoom, and I had him do the dance. The fire.
God damn it, fucking fire.
And he did that on Zoom, and I was cracking up laughing. And what sucks is I don't have it recorded because I was laughing so hard that the Zoom focused on me, not on him. So it's just me laughing. But his dance in the audition was even better than what he did on set. But it was still pretty hilarious on set.
Which, yeah, like even the way he delivers that line when he's peeping through the window, and and she walks away all pissed off, and he says, he's like, I wouldn't have to do this if you just have sex with me. Like
Right?
he's so like you said, sincere and like serious about it, and he's like,
It's
there's a
the logic in
solution
his
to my
head.
pervert
Yeah,
problem.
it's the logic in his head, you know?
Dude, he, like you said, like you kind of got pissed off having the first because when, I can't remember if he did something on the way there, but as soon as you get there around the fire, he's like, hey, I'll dance with you. And it's like trying to pick up on everybody's girl. And then even after Carly got banged out by Jason, then he's like, yep, I'll still take after this and try to go. But, and then with the whole arrow being shot, I mean, you know, something funny, was it Kevin Costner that was Robin Hood, right? The
Yeah,
old one?
Yeah.
yeah.
So one of these guys that we knew fucking actually bought that bow, and I actually shot that fucking the original Robin Hood bow. I sucked ass at it, but I fucking got it. You know, it's funny
our,
too.
our effects artist, Christina Long, was actually the one that shot the arrow into the beer can. So, but she taught Matt how to pull it and everything to look authentic. So,
Yeah, my
but yeah,
brother-in-law and his entire family, they come out here for archery competitions all the time. And like I never knew this, and so one time I was waiting in their truck, and this dude kept staring down the truck, and I was like, "I'm gonna get out and fuck this person up, right?" And then all of a sudden they look, and I was like, "What are you looking at?" And they're like, "Oh, hey, you guys are this person." I was like, "Oh, okay, so you do know them, but still just mean mugging this truck where you're walking by it." I was like, "What the fuck?" Yeah, but what was pretty funny too was when Drew, when he grabbed a bow and arrow. And they're just like, don't miss. And he's like, I don't miss. And then it does that slow mo, like he's Rambo on his face. He's like, and like he had to do it. It's pretty
yeah,
scary, but pretty
that was
goddamn hilarious.
that
Fucking
was a
Elliot's
fun,
leg.
intense scene to do. We actually did that. I think we were fighting a thunderstorm coming in. We had to do that whole scene before it started pouring rain, and I think we finished just as it started raining. And then the rest of the day was a washout, but we got our scene in, so I was happy.
How
That's
long
awesome.
was the whole shoot?
What did we do, Connor? 2 weeks, and then a couple odd days here and there to get some pickup shots and the final scene and stuff. So
Damn.
the opening scene was actually shot. I think it was shot like a year later because coordinating schedules and freaking COVID and people kept getting COVID and stuff, and it was a bitch to freaking schedule, but we finally got it done, and we did it in one night. So that opening scene.
Nice. Which I was gonna ask a little bit about the kind of some of a few of the things I noticed. It's like you have the bow and arrow stuff. You have like some of the way some of the slow motion is done. Like a lot of there were a few things that just felt very like Friday the 13th, and I just wonder if that was like something you pulled from for the visual look.
Yeah, this was basically a love letter to the '80s slasher movies. Friday the 13th, Sleepaway Camp, and stuff. So we did have a lot of homages. The first kill in the movie in that opening scene was sort of my homage to Psycho. And then yeah, there was parts culled from Friday the 13th. Like I didn't want to show the killer right off the bat. I wanted it to be a mystery. So yeah, there was a lot of things that we kind of paid tribute to.
But yeah, I like the way you did the homages because I think sometimes when they're done, it feels like we're doing an homage to this or we're doing an homage to that. But in these, you kind of really have to like pay attention a little bit to notice them, which I like the way that was done.
Yeah, thank you.
So like so for this, did you guys basically like were you at the camp or like at like where you filmed the entire time, just slept there, filmed there kind of thing?
Whose cabin was it? Was it any of you guys' cabin in the first place?
It was an Airbnb.
Oh,
And you can
Um,
stay there.
yeah, it's a cabin in Chester, Massachusetts. You can stay there.
Like, and here's the
Um,
tree.
yeah, so like I went online to Airbnb to try and find a cabin in the woods, and I found that one. And I messaged the guy. And I'm like, hey, I want to do a horror movie, and I'm looking for a cabin. And the guy was like, yeah, cool. So we were able to shoot there for the 2 weeks, and I think most of the cast, well, a few of the cast stayed there throughout production. But I did have a hotel for them. But I think Connor, you stayed in the hotel most of the time, right?
Depends on if there was like nights that we finish and it's like, oh, I'm exhausted, like, yeah, I'll sleep here. Like
Yeah.
sometimes we'd stay at the cabin if we wanted to, or if we wanted to go to the hotel we could go there. It all depended on how we wanted to do stuff, and it really did kind of feel like we were like the characters that we actually filmed. Like when we're filming us there for the first time looking at the cabin, that's really the first time we got there and everything. So I like that Dave kind of had us film chronologically and everything, and it was a fun. It was like being at summer camp, like for adults.
There was some mess up. Like, I think there's that scene where Elliot cleaned the bathroom, and I was like, if he doesn't get murdered, he for sure has Hep C. He's going to die from that fucking outhouse. Like, whoever the hell used that outhouse last needs to fucking leave.
So I built that outhouse in my basement.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
Yeah, I just got a bunch of pallets and stuff, and some old wooden fencing and stuff, and I built that over like a 2 week period in my basement. And then it was like, okay, I got it built now. How the fuck do I get it out of my basement? We had to take it apart, and but I had like 4, 5 separate pieces, so we were able to take it apart and put it back together when we got on set. And then when we were done with it, I asked the guy if we could just kind of trash it and he could use it for firewood or whatever. And he's like, yeah, that's fine. So we didn't have to worry about bringing it home.
Oh, that
Nice.
was one of the coolest kills, though, was the whole pitchfork through the side of it. That made
Yeah,
it.
I like that one. I wanted to do a little bit more. There was actually a knot in kind of like by the door that I wanted to kind of have her looking through and get a point of view shot and everything. But when we were doing that scene, it was already like well after midnight, and Stephanie, the actress, she was kind of freezing and everything. So it's like, all right, I'm gonna have to just drop some of the cooler shots and stuff just to get the scene done. So, but yeah, it was a fun scene to shoot.
Oh, it was a good death, man. We always, there's always the normal chop the head off and gut them
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So the pitchfork one, that was a big surprise, which was pretty hilarious too, because like you don't really see a lot of deaths like on a toilet, and so you're just
Yeah.
like, dude, like they've got to be like. I remember as a kid growing up being like, you know what, you don't ever see people like taking a piss in movies,
Yeah.
and so there's not a lot of movies too where they're like, oh, like in the bathroom, that's like one of the most vulnerable places you can be. So then, especially in an outhouse.
Yeah,
So yeah.
there was a sandy can death in Sleepaway Camp 2 or 3. I don't remember which one it was, but it was
Oh, yeah.
Angela like drowned somebody in a sandy can. It was kind of
Fuck no.
nasty.
Right? Like I've told Ed, like I don't know, like if you guys, go anywhere there's like boats or docks, but they always have those disgusting ass carp fish. And I told my friends, like I was like, hey, if you ever think it's a joke to push me into a fucking puddle of carp fish, like just let me die. Like don't try to fucking pull me out and save me. I was like, because for the rest of my life I'd have to have those disgusting fish fucking feeling all over me. Like just fucking I'll just go underwater and just take a deep breath and end it. I was like, so that's not a practical joke on me. Don't ever fucking push me into a disgusting carp fucking gang or whatever the hell they're called.
Shit,
Gross.
maybe I'll have to write that into the sequel or something.
Dude, it would be so disgusting. Like, are you sure you want me to save you? No. They'd come out, they'd have all these fucking hickeys all over them because those carp just fucking suck the shit out of everything.
Yeah.
I want to punch them so bad. Every time I see fucking carp like that, I just want to punch them. But that's just fucked up to do, right? Anyways. some other funny things too. What was it? Rachel. We made the comment that Rachel went and used the bathroom so bad that she had to just smoke a cigarette right after she did it, and then looking for people. Like, it's fucked up, but I mean that's clearly what happened, you know. And then who was it? Anya, right?
Yeah,
Anya.
Anya.
She was looking 100%. She was looking to use the bathroom somewhere, and then she just stumbled upon you, Ryan, and oh god
Roman.
damn it, no, I can't remember. Roman,
Roman.
when
Yeah.
you guys were on the tree together. Yes, you know. But like we said, it's easy to watch. It's very flowing. We really enjoyed watching it. There's
Which
a couple movies that we watch multiple times, and this for sure was one of them.
definitely.
Yeah, appreciate
Which
that.
what I do appreciate is I think there was an intelligence to the writing, because I think there are those times when you notice that, or like I noticed that we were starting to mentally get ahead of the plot a little bit, and then all of a sudden, like something would happen to like kind of throw us off a little bit, and one of those things was um like I don't know if we said it in the episode or not, but we started to notice like this kind of feels like this could be like a two killer thing, and we called out the names, and then when you get to that scene where
Oh,
it is the girls, then they have to have a fight between each other, because like she got in the moment and had to let out her passions on Drew, and uh like that was kind of a fun little fight scene thing too.
Yeah.
well, I think the only thing that we caught, and it's the same thing in every horror movie, if you don't see that person die, then they're not dead,
Yeah.
Right.
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But there were so many other hints, not that they were the killer, but that Jenna and Rachel were a couple. Like there's that scene where she thinks that Rachel's she's like, "Hun, is everything okay?" Right in front of Drew. If I was Drew, I'd be like, "What the fuck? Why'd you just call her Hun? Like, what the hell?" So I think that that's the only time that we figured out, well, that Rachel was going to be a bad guy. But, everything else besides those ones, but I mean, it's just from watching them.
But it
But
was a credit to the writing, really, that
Yeah,
like
thank you.
you see that you see that there's like, oh wait, they might get ahead of that, so let's have some more kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely wanted to kind of throw the audience off and everything, because I'm like, this is getting too obvious. We got to throw in a monkey wrench here. So,
I'd like to bring up Ryan's death again. Sorry. And I don't know if you did it on purpose or not. You probably did. But when you were being pegged and then she gets choked, like she's like, and so she started thrusting harder and faster. And then
That was
Ryan's like,
funny.
yeah. And you're just like, no, they're dying. Like, they're not doing it anymore. That was hilarious, man. That was great.
Yeah, we actually so what we have on set is an intimacy coordinator who is like, there to talk about what to do, how to do it, how to make something look like this for when you're doing intimacy scenes. And so like for originally it was written that we were just doing it regularly, and I think her eyes are shut and she doesn't see my head gets chopped off. But then once I brought the beaver head, we thought, oh, like what if this could be? That's why he doesn't see, and the rest how that folds out. So it was like, yeah, our intimacy coordinator Erin, she kind of went through like, how we do it or whatever. And yeah, I'm glad that that's how you saw it, because that's kind of how that's how we were hoping to do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was cool.
And there was a time too where like we started guessing that Carly was the other killer because she just looked like she knows how to mess with cars. Like you couldn't give me $1 million, like Brian, go take the starter plug out of that car. I'd be like, I don't know what the fuck that means. Like I could tell you a funny joke, but they was like, oh, all the cars are fucked. I was like, oh, for sure it's Rachel and Carly that are in on it. But no, see, so like we were trying to guess and see who we could get to be it and why they were doing it.
yeah.
But that was one of our guesses in the first place was Carly. Then Roman, was he the first black dude to ever get shot and killed by a bow and arrow?
So
Really?
maybe
That scene too?
that wasn't the way he was originally supposed to die. So he was actually supposed to have this big ass long drill go through his chest,
Damn.
but the effects didn't work out, so we had to change it and kind of simplify things. So we just did the arrows. So, but I think
We got shot multiple times by the fucking same bow and arrow.
yeah.
God, that
Well,
sucks.
no, it was different arrows.
No,
It's
but
different.
the same bow. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So
I think he got shot like 3 times, right? At least.
yeah, he got shot 3 times. So
He
he's
was
a badass. He can't die easily. So
I know that just sucks. Like, I mean, at least Ryan, they're like, yeah, for sure he's dead because his head was chopped off.
yeah,
But then Romans, they're gonna be like, oh, Roman. They're like, oh, he was shot with a bit of arrows. That sucks. Elliot lived through an arrow shot, but then
that was in the leg. Yeah,
poor Elliot.
yeah. And it's kind of teased that hey, maybe Elliot was the killer all along and shot Roman in revenge.
Ooh, I didn't even think about that one.
Yeah, that one didn't
Because
cross
Elliot
my mind.
would, man. That's another thing too. Was Elliot? If we wouldn't have seen him get killed, then we for sure could have been. It's him because everybody's picking on him, kind of like on a whatever. Well, there's a couple movies where they're like, "No, I was just tired of being picked on. That's why I'm killing everybody." I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, that makes sense.
I kind of played out that you kind of thought Drew was the killer too, because there was he didn't want to like call the cops and stuff, and he's getting ditched by his girlfriend and stuff, so he had a lot of motive. So, but in the end, it wasn't him.
There were, like we said, we were trying to guess, and the only reason why we got Rachel was because we didn't see her die. But everybody else, we were like, oh, they're it because of this. Oh, he's it because of this. So, like I said, it did keep us guessing the entire time of who's going to get killed first, who's going to get killed next, how are these people going to die, And a lot of them were, like I said, the outhouse one. That one was just a great one because you're just like, oh, you don't see that one. Normally, you just get, they run and fall in the woods and then they get caught.
Yeah,
Nope, there was none of that. It's just pitchfork to your hip. Gets them every time.
yeah.
And then it was shaking it too, like moving her around, like genius, man. It was good.
Well, because it gets stuck in like the ribs and shit, so they got to pull it out and do it again. So
That was a good one.
Let's see, Carly. I think she died of probably that taste of her rabbit. That one was messed up because I mean we always joke about too. The people that get like gutted in the forest and it's like I'm gonna pick it up and put it back inside. You're just like no, because then you just got splinters and you probably died of like splinters and rabbit shit that's inside your body now. If you would just left it be, So after her whatever boyfriend's like you won't be needing this anymore and throws it outside in the middle of the woods. And then he puts it in her mouth. That's fucked up. But again, hilarious. Like god damn.
and then it's still vibrating and it's in her throat.
Dude, that happens, man. It happens. We know some people in the medical field where stuff gets stuck inside of them and the doctor can't get out because it keeps shocking and vibrating them. They're like, all right, well, you got to go sit out in the waiting room until the batteries die. And then we'll be able to get it out.
Oh, man.
Yes. That's could you imagine sitting beside somebody and be like, hey, I think your phone's going off there. It's like, it's not my phone. Fucked up, right? Well, yeah.
Shit.
But,
Then we really like
that's definitely going in the sequel.
all right, there it is. You gotta wait out there for the battery to die. There's like, oh, these are energizers. They're just completely fucked. But we like the revealing of it. The revealing of it and why they did it and everything like that. And then especially how they tied it back to the fire. How Rachel's like, I told you were wrong. And they're just like, what? And then when it shows, you're just like, oh, all right, now that makes her. So she's been chopping dicks off since she was like fucking 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she was the little kid in the beginning.
Fucked up.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't put that one together.
Yeah.
No, because that's what she's like. What was the name of Robbie? Like, it wasn't Robbie, it was Rachel. And
Ralphie.
you're just like, no. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope. So it was, yeah, the revealing of it too was good. And then it was even funnier how she's like, oh, so you're no longer a virgin, and then killed Jenna. It's like, that's what you get. All
Yep.
right.
Yep.
And then you were just so happy that Drew finally got it. Like, you're cheering for it. It's like, yeah, Drew, hurry up. Like, don't get into different positions. Just hurry up and finish. That way you can, get the job done. And
I
then
thought that
hopefully not get murked.
was a little bit absurd. There's a killer out there, but we're still going to have sex. But, I'm like, I never see this in horror movies. I'm going to put that in there. So,
Well, that's
you know.
one of our questions that we always ask the people too is, if all your people were dying or being murdered, would you be like, hey, this is our last chance to do this? Or would you be like, I don't got time for this? Like,
Yeah.
it's a
Especially if you're a virgin and you want to lose it before you die.
Yeah.
Elliot.
Which that was one that I always thought was kind of like a ridiculous action movie, horror movie thing. And then, like, what was it? It was an interview with like a guy that saved his wife and his kids, and it was him and his wife, and it was like the Israel Hamas thing. And he was explaining, he's like, I grabbed my wife, I grabbed my kids. I killed these men, and then I run, and then we ran away, and I took them to safety. And you look at this woman, and she is looking at this guy like, you are the most amazing man I have ever met in my entire life. Like, if there were no cameras here, like, it's go time. Like,
Right.
so after I saw that, I was like, there is a time and a place, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what was that movie where they were talking about they were in an airplane and the plane was going down, so everybody just whipped it out and started jacking it, and then somehow yes,
Oh yeah.
What was it?
yeah, and so they admit they're just like, and then the plane leveled out and nobody talked about it ever again. They're like, what the fuck? Because yeah.
What was the movie?
It's in
Mallrats.
Mallrats. Brody talks
Mallrats.
about his cousin.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's Brody.
See, so no, there's some great things in there. Yes, but yeah, I don't think I have anything. I think those are all the.
We could
things,
go
except
into our final questions.
I know, right? We haven't done our hard hitting questions in a long time.
Yeah, they're not as intimidating as they sound.
Most.
Which, I mean, if you don't have an answer to this one, it's fine. I mean, because not everybody has one right away. But like, are there any independent horror movies that,
Or any movies in general,
or any movies in general that you would recommend for us?
Devaney Pin's Frost. Frost and Black Mass. The Black Mass from Devaney Pin. Those were really good.
I want to say that I think I might have even seen Black Mass.
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I've been looking at notes and taking notes.
That's off the top of my head. I'm trying to look at my collection and see what I got. That's what I got so far. Right now.
All right. Connor, you got anything for us?
Lately it's like there's a lot like I've basically just been getting into this genre since I got into this movie, and I'm finding there's so much that's coming that I would like to recommend. I just don't know when it's coming, kind of thing. But I mean, I think, what is it? Have you guys seen? Actually, no, I can't think of one off the top of my head really right now.
Oh, good. So, is this your first horror movie?
No.
No, Connor.
That I've been in, yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Well, yeah, that's awesome because I mean, it kind of felt like I think maybe that works well sometimes because like there's an authenticity that comes to the character as opposed to how do I create a horror movie moment kind of thing. Like because those moments like they're better when they're authentic.
Yeah, because what was that? Was it High Desert? right?
Oh,
Was it High Desert?
Horror in the High Desert. Yeah.
Horror in the High Desert. Like that guy's like, no, I'm not even an actor. He's like, I just like going hiking. And my buddy's like, hey, I'm gonna make a movie about a hiker who, runs upon this horror thing, and you should be in it. And he's like, what? So like we spoke with him, and he's like, no, he's like, I'm not an actor. He's like, I just like going hiking. And so his buddy's like, this is you, since you know what you're doing. It was kind of like what Armageddon, where you can teach a fucking oil riggers to
Oil
be
drillers.
astronauts, but you can't teach astronauts to be oil riggers. God damn it!
Yeah,
Yeah, no, fucking goddamn Bruce.
I love that movie.
And then Aerosmith starts singing, so beautiful. All right, and then the last one. Is there anything that you guys are working on that you can tell us about without getting in trouble? Without,
Connor, you want to go first?
After I don't have any release dates yet, but I'm gonna be in a movie called The Art of Killing, which is about if Bob Ross was a killer, pretty much.
Ooh.
Dude, that's a good theory, man. I've been seeing
I
a
love
bunch
Bob
of
Ross.
that shit lately.
Yeah.
Yeah, right now I'm executive producing a few projects, but I'm also writing a couple scripts. I don't know what my next project's going to be yet.
All right.
But that's where I'm at right now.
Awesome.
Oh, nice. If people are looking for you on social media or wherever, where can they find you?
So Mad Z Productions has a website, madzproductions.com. We have a Facebook page, an Instagram page. There's a Facebook and Instagram for Horny Teenagers.
Just the way you said we have an Instagram for Horny Teenagers, you're like, nah, you should probably say the whole
I should
thing.
probably clarify that. Yeah, Horny Teenagers Must Die. There's an Instagram and Facebook page for that as well.
Yeah. So another thing then, Connor, real quick then, have you ever been approached out in public and been like, hey, were you that dude in this movie?
No, because like not for the most part. But I did go to a TerraCon. No, it was Monster Expo. It was a horror convention, and someone who was there had been to one of the previous screenings, and I was there wearing the beaver head, dressed as my character.
All
And I
right.
walked by him, and I'm just passing out, papers to get them to go to Dave's table. And I walked by this one guy, and he goes, "Hey, Sir Pegs a lot." And I was like, "All right, what's up?"
Amazing. Well,
But there was also that same convention. There was I swear to God, there was this one girl who came up to me with the DVD, like she just got it, and like she put together that I had the beaver head, and the Blu-ray that we have has the beaver head, and she was like, "Oh, like that's you, right?" I'm like, "Yeah," and she
Yeah,
hadn't
it
seen
is.
it yet, so that's fun.
She hadn't seen it yet?
No, she was just.
Oh, fuck.
I know
She's
she was gonna take it home to watch it.
You're going to go home and have a signature. She's like, yes, one of these guys signed it. She's like, wait a second. No, don't do that. That's amazing.
That's not right.
But yeah, thank you for talking to us, and we really appreciate it.
Us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you guys.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. This podcast is available on all major podcast networks and YouTube. If you like what you're hearing, please follow, like, and subscribe on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.